Let's go Broncos fans! What if I told you this game against the Chargers could change everything? That behind the scenes, something big is brewing, and it's not just injuries or stats. I've revealed key details, insider insights, and a turning point most fans aren't even talking about yet. This isn't just another preview, it's a warning for the AFC West, and what I'm about to reveal could change the narrative of this entire season. But before we dive into this exclusive, please click like only if you're a true Broncos fan who bleeds orange and blue. And if you're one of those who's been waiting for this team to rise from the ashes, then this is your moment. Comment below, go Broncos! We're coming west! Now let's get to it. Now, let's get to the heart of what's really going on. This game against the Chargers is more than just another matchup. It's a battle between two teams that are both eyeing the same prize. And to get some insight from the other side, we went behind enemy lines with one of the biggest NFL creators on TikTok, NFL Mike, a diehard Chargers fan who, love him or hate him, knows his team inside and out. His perspective gives us an important window into what's happening in LA, and why this game might be even more intense than we thought. First off, the Chargers are dealing with serious injury blows. The most notable, Khalil Mack, who suffered what looked like a gruesome elbow injury. His arm bent in ways it definitely shouldn't. While official reports call it an elbow injury, the eye test suggests something much worse. If it's ligament damage, the Chargers are likely without him until deep into the playoffs, if they get there. And if it's a bone issue, he's out for months. One thing is certain, he won't be suiting up against the Broncos. And that's a game-changing absence. Now imagine this, would the Broncos be the same defense without Pat Certain on the field? Exactly. That's the level of impact we're talking about here. With Mack gone, Justin Herbert and the Chargers will be relying heavily on a restructured O-line, and that's where things get even more interesting. Rashawn Slater, one of their premier offensive tackles, is also out. His replacement? A man named Trey Pipkins, a name so forgettable, even Chargers fans can't seem to pronounce it correctly. But that's great news for Broncos edge rushers like Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper. Benito, by the way, leads the entire NFL in quarterback pressures, even ahead of stars like Micah Parsons. This could be an all-you-can-eat buffet for Denver's pass rush, especially off that right edge where Pipkins is exposed. And if Jonah Ellis gets rotated in, this trio could terrorize Herbert from the opening snap. The Chargers are aware of this weakness and have tried to scheme around it by allowing Pipkins to isolate the pass rusher while Herbert either scrambles out or steps up. But this isn't a sustainable strategy when the pass rush is coming hot and heavy all game long. And without Khalil Mack creating that split-second disruption on defense, it's going to be significantly harder for the Chargers secondary to hold coverage long enough. Speaking of defense, let's talk about how NFL Mike described Denver's unit. He called the Broncos the most overhyped defense in NFL history. Yes, you read that right. He pointed out struggles against Daniel Jones and a lack of the relentless pressure that defined last year's defense. But here's the thing, he's ignoring the fact that this defense has been rebuilding its momentum. And Benito? He's been a revelation. The man has outpressured entire NFL teams. That's not hype, that's production. And if we're being honest, the Broncos offense has come alive. In fact, after last week's performance, they were rated as the second most explosive offense in the league, only behind the Detroit Lions. Bo Nix shook off the sophomore slump talk with a commanding performance, carving up a Colts defense that held the Miami Dolphins scoreless until the fourth quarter. So if anyone's still doubting the direction Sean Payton has this offense heading, it's time to wake up. As for the Chargers, they're still clinging to a vision that head coach Jim Harbaugh is trying to build. But this isn't a team firing on all cylinders just yet. While they're saving up cap space for a potential Super Bowl run in the future, the present doesn't look nearly as stable. They've patched holes in their defensive line with names like T.O.R. Tart and some rotational players most fans haven't even heard of. And yes, while T.O.R. Tart is stepping up as a run stopper, he's no Khalil Mack. The Chargers' offense has become unbalanced, with Justin Herbert often having to be the leading rusher. Their first-round pick Amari and Hampton hasn't lived up to the hype, and while Najee is expected to see more touches, it's clear the run game isn't a strength. And yes, Keenan Allen is still putting up numbers, but this isn't the same offense that Broncos fans feared 2 years ago. Then there's the narrative from Chargers fans that the Broncos defense can't hang. NFL Mike doesn't believe in Nick Benito. He doubts the pass rush. But how many times do we have to say it? Benito leads the league in pressures. The Broncos defense may have had a shaky start, but they are not the same team they were in week 1. They're trending up, and with the Chargers missing their top edge rusher and one of their best offensive linemen, Denver has a real opportunity to dominate the trenches on both sides of the ball. And here's where it gets even more intense. While Chargers fans continue to wave off concerns and hang their hopes on Justin Herbert's improvisational brilliance, the Broncos have quietly built one of the most dangerous edge-rushing duos in the league. Jonathan Cooper has been a menace. Nick Bonitto has been elite. And now they're heading into a game where the man responsible for protecting Herbert's blind side is Trey Pipkins, a player the football world is barely familiar with, for good reason. This matchup heavily favors Denver in the trenches. Every second Herbert holds the ball, Bonitto and Cooper are collapsing the pocket. And without Khalil Mack on the other side to return the favor against Bo Nix, the Broncos quarterback should have more time to work through his progressions and attack a secondary that's playing well, but hasn't faced the kind of high-efficiency offensive rhythm Denver is starting to develop. And let's not forget, Bo Nix has something to prove. National media doubted him. Fans were unsure. But in a pivotal game against the Colts, he helped guide Denver to one of the most explosive offensive performances of the entire NFL week. And who were they up against? A Colts defense that shut down the Miami Dolphins for 3 quarters. That's not nothing. The narrative about Nix crumbling under pressure is dying quickly, and what better way to bury it than to outplay Herbert in a high-stakes divisional showdown? And we have to talk about the chess match that's unfolding between Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh. These are two of the most respected minds in football, but they've taken vastly different approaches. Harbaugh, while praised for building culture and long-term plans, hasn't quite solidified a winning identity for this Chargers squad yet. He's still figuring out his backfield. His O-line is makeshift. He's lost defensive anchors. This is not the kind of stable environment you want going into a must-win road game. Sean Payton, on the other hand, has kept his foot on the gas. And for all the noise about the Broncos' defense being overhyped, you better believe that the narrative shifts fast when that front seven starts burying quarterbacks. Bo Nix doesn't need to be perfect. He needs to be smart. And luckily for us, he's shown an increasing ability to handle pressure. Yes, he has a panic button. Yes, he's made risky throws. But he's also learning when to throw it away, when to scramble, and how to put the ball in his playmaker's hands. That type of development is exactly what separates a flash-in-the-pan rookie from a franchise quarterback. And let's be real, no one is talking about this enough, but the Broncos' offense looks fun. It's creative, it's fast, it's unpredictable, and it's been putting up points. Now, if the Chargers' defense was fully healthy, maybe this would be a different story. Derwin James is still a problem in the secondary, but James can't cover everyone. And with no Mack up front, James and the rest of the secondary will be under immense pressure to cover longer than they're used to. That's when receivers like Marvin Mims Jr. and Courtland Sutton can feast. That's when Bo Nix can take a deep shot off a bootleg. That's when the Broncos can strike. And don't underestimate the importance of the Broncos controlling the clock. If Denver can run the ball with consistency, wear down that defensive line, and keep Herbert on the sidelines, it changes the entire rhythm of the game. Time of possession is going to be huge. Win that battle, and Denver wins the war. NFL Mike, with all his TikTok fame and Chargers takes, still had to admit that this game was a toss-up. He gave his score prediction, Chargers 30, Broncos 20, but that's not grounded in reality. That's wishful thinking. The truth is, without Mack, without Slater, and with a rushing attack that's still figuring itself out, the Chargers are walking into a hornet's nest. This is Empower Field. This is Broncos country. And this is a game where Payton and